Enough. I think that's enough. Thank you, Pepe. Now let's get serious business and start the show, for God's sake. How long can we endure myself? I mean, I can barely do it. Welcome to the Inside Star Citizen Review. Yes.
You're not gonna hate me.
It is Thursday. It is my favorite day, hanging out with my favorite people here. If you're watching on YouTube and you couldn't make it live, try to. Go to Twitch, check out the schedule, hang with us live. We're all here. Look at this. We're chilling out. It's that first level energy that you just cannot miss. If you are watching on YouTube and you did miss it, don't forget to push the like button. And hey, maybe you want to push join. Maybe you want to become a member and help us out here. Maybe you want to help us grow and become something special. That very something special that you tuck away under your mattress. Well, okay, some of you, that's a totally different thing. I'm talking about the Inside Star Citizen Review. I'm talking about DG360. Hi. What is this? Wait a second. Hold on. I just noticed something very blissful right now. 21 minutes? What is going on here? 21 minutes of Inside Star Citizen? Can it be? Can it actually be? Hold on a second. I don't think I've seen a long one for a while. I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about the Corsair. We're going to be talking about that at the after party. Let's get into this, Pepe. Let's go, dude. Good, folks.
IAE is here, and with it the biggest showcase of ships and vehicles this side of the Stanton system. And over the next 2 weeks, we've got videos galore dedicated to the new ships being introduced, the in-universe companies that create them, the way that we make them out here IRL, and updates and reworks to some fan favorites currently in the pipeline. But to get things started this week, it's time to talk starter ships.
Oh, thank you, Oz. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, bro. That's my super mod right there.
Why they matter to the overall scheme of things, who needs one and why, and introduce you to the newest making their debut in tomorrow's showcase.
They're getting better with production, aren't they?
The starter ship is a player's first entry into the game that gives them that little taste of what the game can do.
It should be relatively simple,
yes,
straightforward, easy to fly, and should provide access.
What is going on? Are they actually listening to everything I say right now? It's like this has been happening now for the past 2 weeks. I feel like they're legit watching the show and doing everything that we're saying on the show. What is going on?
To as many different game loops as possible.
They matter in the overall scheme of things because everyone has to start somewhere. So why not start with?
Oh my goodness!
A little ship
I have to
can
load
do a little
that.
bit of most things.
Sorry, Oz,
well
I did not load
to get you
the
ready for
banana
the bigger
fountain
universe.
sound effect. It's awesome.
Even if you had every ship in the game, starships still have a purpose in that sometimes you don't want to risk your big value ships or vehicles. Multiplayer or like finding people to play with,
right? Anarchy,
like
dude.
That evident.
Listen. I'm just gonna say this, and I won't keep pausing because I know people get pissed off. But I will say this: Anarchy brings up a very good point. Anarchy is saying they need to give me a name drop, every once in a while. Like if you're gonna listen to everything that I say and do everything that I say and make a game that much better and more amazing, and all the gamers out there, including myself, are gonna love it even more, just say DG360. How many syllables is that? DG360. That's 5 syllables. Thank you. Thank you, Killian. Thank you, dude. There's our OG, Killian. Everybody knows I love danger. And everybody knows I love... Take the money. like what Killian is doing with the bot speak is amazing. He is a virtuoso of the eye. He is understanding verbology here on DG360 in a way that is deeper than most. And I would just like to applaud that. Thank you, Killian, for that. I appreciate that. Also, as Anarchy said, please name drop DG360. Just 5 syllables. Just 5 easy syllables. Flows right off the tongue. You know? Help a brother out. Listen, the thing is, I have always been the black sheep of Star Citizen. I think as a community, we have donated to this project somewhere, and I'm not joking, since 2014, probably around $20,000 between everybody in this community. I would say $20,000 has gone into Star Citizen between myself and others that have helped with giveaways, subscription money, purchases of my own, purchases for the channel, $20,000. Just 5 syllables. Can I get an Can I get an amen? Just all you have to say, DG360. I mean, it's like they forgot about me, you know?
And
thank
you
you,
might feel like playing for an hour or so, and then a starter ship is perfect because you don't have to have a whole team to man it.
They're also fun when you're doing something like a 0 to hero run to get you started and on your way.
0 to hero is when people start out with one of the basic ships and try and work their way up using only in-game loops and in-game currency to buy one of the larger ships for a certain goal they set themselves. I personally enjoy doing that sometimes because it gives you a new perspective on the game when you first came into the game.
All right, Walker, I'm doing this just for you, and I don't normally do that. But what are we, wait, there's some serious, we're building it up for Walker here. I'm going to pause, but you probably got like 10 seconds. Thank you, Walker. Fucking love you, bro. That was special to me. That was special to me, Walker. Thank you. And for the people that left, there was like 7 or 8 people that can't stand this. Fuck those people. We are the true DG360 community that can handle being patient, sitting down, talking to one another, and having a good time without like. I would like to think that we're somewhat adult here.
The game may be.
Thank you, Oz. Thank you. It's a party. It's a party. We're supposed to be having a good time. Right. See, somewhat adults. Right, Tech. Right.
7 years ago, the experience then is different to the experience now.
The
so
player
it gives you that
experience
reset
easier.
To sort of relearn
the starting beginner player experience
I think you
easier.
just made one hell of a good decision.
A lot of our current lineup of starter ships were developed back before our game loops really became a proper thing. That means that we're in a really good position at the moment to introduce a modern starter ship that is set up to work with our modern game loops. And that's where the Drake Cutter comes in.
The Drake Cutter is Drake's entry into the starter ship market. It provides...
The Drake Cutter looks like a giant brick. It's just a brick. Okay, it's Drake. Leave him alone. It's just a brick with some engines on the side of it. Drake said, fuck it. We don't have anything that looks like a brick yet. We just need something that literally looks like a brick. Thank you, Drake, for making a starter ship. Hold on a second. Hold on. That's... Where's my applause? Drake finally has a starter ship. It reminds me of my mom, says Kill Devil.
A well-rounded experience for one person to just go take on all that the verse can offer.
It's a ship that is very straightforward in the way that it's designed. It's designed to get a starter player from A to B as safely as possible while they do their starting gameplay loops.
You'll notice the materials and the whole look of the ship and how it's built. It's not really aerodynamic. It's very bolted on and like put together.
That deserves a Seth laugh too here. Hold on. Did you hear that pause? I was like, it's not really aerodynamic. No shit. It's a brick. It's Drake. It's not aerodynamic, okay? And it's okay that it's not. It's Drake.
Out of like different kinds of metals, and like some are more rusty than others. It's using the Vulture VTOLs It's also using that Drake signature cladding and paneling that's like bolted on top.
Axis.
It's very functional but robust.
Very small
and
wings, right?
Slightly janky looking.
Slightly janky.
I think my favorite part of it is actually the way that it flies. It's got big engines, but quite small maneuvering thrusters, which means that it's relatively fast in a straight line.
I love it because it's Drake.
But as soon as you start trying to turn, you really begin to feel the weight of the ship, because it's quite a heavy ship for a starter. And that gives it a lot of character.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think as most of the time that you spend in your ship, you'll be flying it. I think it's very important that we get that sort of thing right.
They're really trying to talk this up too. I love it because it's a brick, and they're really talking this brick up, and I love it because it's Drake.
It has a relatively large interior, the largest of any starter ship.
Everything is quite tactile on the inside. There's lots of levers and clunky buttons rather than holographic displays. You don't have the finer cladding on the inside that other manufacturers would do. It's all exposed insulation and pipe work just to give it that no frills spared experience.
As the ramp lowers, you're greeted by the cargo hold. This is where most of the components live in their component bays, and this is also where cargo is stored. You have a door at the back of the cargo area that leads you through into the hab.
And a microwave from 1967. There's so much you can do with this. Which
is where the basic amenities that
What's up, Axis? Thanks you for that subscription, bro. 1955.
Bed with a little reading light. A little storage locker.
Make burritos out of this thing. Pepe, check this out, man.
And then through on the other side of the hab is the cockpit, which is where the last two components live, the pilot seat and dashboard.
You like it? Yeah, Pepe likes it. Pepe likes it, dude. What's up with this seat? Does it raise up like a fucking... I love it. I love that the seat raises up like that.
The
Dude,
thing I like about the cutter the most is just how evolved it is compared to some of the other starter ships. It has a cockpit with a really tactile experience in it. It has onboard living quarters and storage, as well as an actual cargo bay that you can fit cargo and larger things in.
Hold on a second.
It gives you lots of variety in what you can do with it.
The Drake cutter is for everyone. It's a simple starter ship.
Here we go. Here's where they got the idea from, right here. Here we go. Yes, that is exactly where they got it from. I just thought of this. Everything good comes from the banana fountain. Everything good. This is it. This is it right here.
That everyone will be able to find a use for. In every fleet, there is a use for a small,
I missed you guys.
Tough,
I love Thursdays,
relatively fast ship.
Compared to the other starters, I think a lot of it comes down to
you're going to see memes of it now, but remember when you see memes of it,
cool
came from the
ship.
banana fountain.
A bunch of little cool features, like I love the little slidey armor windows that you can pop into place. And yeah, it's just quite well-rounded.
It has access to more gameplay loops than you'll get in any other starter. You'll be able to carry other people. You'll be able to carry a vehicle if you're careful. You'll be able to very easily get mission boxes in and out. You can do a little bit of bounty hunting if you're very careful. It makes a very good explorer because it has very large fuel tanks compared to the other starter ships. It's like we took a Cutlass and made it tiny.
It's so good.
The cutter is Drake's first foray into starter ships for the persistent universe.
How much are they selling it for?
Will become available to all players straight to flyable when the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2952 launches proper tomorrow. But who is Drake Interplanetary? Creator of the new cutter, shunned antagonist of Invictus Launch Week, and this year's sponsor of IAE? Let's find out more.
They pay you. Oh, you gotta snort, Starlet. You gotta snort.
Do you have a favorite Drake ship?
I love the Buccaneer. I used to be able to really wreck some stuff in that ship.
I'm crying.
Although the Cutlass is really good because it is, again, it can be good in a dogfight and it can also, transport some stuff. But I have a real soft spot for the Buccaneer. I'm very excited for the Corsair. I don't know if I can talk about that one, but that one looks super cool.
It's literally behind you on the screen.
Here we go.
Yeah, that one.
We're gonna look at this at the after party.
I like the wings. And the asymmetry is cool.
Everybody loves asymmetry. Everybody.
Drake Interplanetary is one of our bigger ship manufacturers.
I haven't seen David
they
in a while.
In a nutshell, kind of sell themselves as the bad boys of ship manufacturing. They have a reputation of being a popular ship among criminals, which sort of implies that they're kind of courting that demographic, which is somewhat true, but not entirely true. They're very much a legitimate organization. They're a proper business, but they kind of very much take the stance of we're not responsible for what people do with our product. We're going to make highly modular,
Drake.
easily repairable, kind of cheap products. And
Wait.
People happen.
Did he say cheap products? I mean, that's just. Hold on a second. They're not cheap. They're. Listen. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Just remember that. Just remember that, David.
To use those for crime, well, that's their choice. We have nothing to do with it.
We need other adjectives.
Another aspect to it, too, is the fact that
I want other adjectives here in chat.
Affordable and versatile as far as their ships. That's made them very common. So it's also one of those things that's like, why it's popular for criminals is that it becomes a very low-profile type ship. So the idea being that if I want to commit a crime, I don't want to be driving a supercar. I want to be driving a car that a lot of other people are driving, so I can kind of blend in a little bit easier. So it's been fun kind of riding that line of them.
Sub-premium. It's not premium, but it's almost there.
Connections while not overtly being a criminal corporation. And so over the past couple of years, their marketing has shifted to much more of a, take back the power.
Ghetto chic.
We're trying to provide weapons and tools for the people because you can't trust the government or the military to save you. You need to have the tools to be able to do that yourself. So that's been kind of the thing that's been driving them for the past couple of years and is certainly keying into the current IAE that they're co-sponsoring. Part of the reason why Drake is one of the sponsors of this year's IAE, aside from the fact that they were releasing a handful of ships, we were trying to figure out what would make most sense for them to be to contribute towards a theme, because that's always kind of a big discussion point when we start tackling each year's IAE. If you're familiar with our Fleet Week event, Drake always runs a counter program to it. So once Fleet Week is over, there's what's called Defense Con, which is Drake's answer, if you will, to Fleet Week, because Drake and the military have a bit of a contentious relationship. See, in their past, the first ship that Drake manufactured was the Cutlass, and they made it as a contender for a military contract. And so the military shot them down. They ended up just saying, hell with it, and we'll release it to the public.
You guys.
And that's how they started, basically got their start. So there's a little bit of contentiousness. I like that David knows the lore. That's Drake cool. And the military. And so with IAE, their kind of bold message is the military is useless. Basically, you can't trust them. They're not going to be there for you. You need to be in charge of your own destiny, and you need to protect your family, and we're going to provide you the tools.
Which is why Drake is the best ship.
And so one of the fun things, because that's very much on display with a lot of the Defense Con, like branding and advertisements and stuff like that. But one of the fun things is IAE is a much more kind of chill event. It's more downplayed,
he did bulk
more
up
low-key.
A little bit.
IAE as an organization, we like to sort of, talk about them in kind of brand words. So like they're much more intellectual. They're focused on engineering and innovation and stuff like that. And then you have Drake coming in, basically saying like, screw the government, and IAE having to be like, whoa, pump the brakes there.
I mean, that's great. Anybody that says screw the government, pretty much. I'm just teasing. Guys,
so it becomes a fun balance between finding those moments where Drake kind of pushes through their edginess and overrides the IEE, and also where IEE is able to kind of rise up to kind of tamp down their more provocative messaging.
For those living in the past, it's a new generation, and Drake don't give a damn about their bad reputation. Yeah. Drake is often the manufacturer of choice for those who value pragmatism and clarity of purpose over luxury and over-engineered styling, and look to celebrate this ethos as sponsor of this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. But at the other end of the manufacturer spectrum is Origin, famous for their extravagance and leisure, but slightly infamous in their mishandling of the original 600i rollout. Let's find out what went wrong the first time around and take a look at how the team aims to address the issues in the current internal concept rework.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
So the 600i, when it first came out, was one of those ships that we talked about in the past that has had a troubled development.
Everybody knows how I feel about Origin. The reason you're seeing a lot of bananas in here, I think that most Origins look like bananas with few exceptions. The 890 jump being one. Almost every other Origin ship looks like a banana. I say this a lot, especially to the 300. I miss the old 300 design. I will say that till the day I die. In fact, I'm going to put right above me, epitaph on my tombstone. I will have a picture of the old 300 series Origin that I absolutely loved because it had that stock car, race car feel to it that I miss that old 300. And somewhere there is a country song where a man is singing very sadly about how he misses his old 300. And I can hear it in my head. I can hear it now. C chord, D chord, G chord, A, back to C. And he's singing it. And he's singing it sad.
The original 600i, its core issue was what we prioritized for space. The rear was a massive habitation area where there was pool tables and bars. And then you had the very front of the ship, which had the bridge and the captain's quarters. And then it forced the entirety of the core gameplay loops of the ship
All
to
right,
live in.
I'm applauding this man's beard here. Hold on one second. I miss my stash. I'm having pangs. I'm having miss you pangs. I'm missing my stash right now, and this man's beard here is definitely worth some applause.
In the middle of it, so you had this small module where everything needed to happen.
If you're designing spaceships, you kind of need to make sure that everything's there for a reason. And when we get to the point where we've got kind of big unused areas of the ship that don't really support functionality,
he's flipping off.
It just feels like
what used
a
to be
wasted
my stash with
opportunity.
his beard.
The 600i was done relatively early for Origin as a brand. We'd had the 300, and it was the first
definitely
really
of
big
dwarf
Origin
blood
ship that we decided to do. Since then,
it was
we've
absolutely
obviously
too
tackled much
powerful.
larger Origin ships with the 890, and throughout the course of the 890, the Origin style completely evolved from what it was, which you had some very technical and wooden surfaces, to instead have this lovely transition that goes between them, which can be seen across the 890, the clear but smooth divide between the different sections of the ship.
In terms of reworking the 600i, we had a sort of very clear brief. We want to bring it up to modern day standards. So there's a lot of features that didn't exist in the game there or weren't accounted for at the time, to integrate those into the ship now, and then to also make better use of the space, because anyone that's been on board a 600i knows there's a lot of walking and going up and down to get to where you want to, and it doesn't really need to be like that.
It's a convoluted maze.
Currently, the 600i is concept complete. There's a couple of rooms which haven't had full concept work done on them, such as the crew quarters, but for the most part, every room has had a complete and utter rework.
The big change for the module section is its placement. So rather than being the sort of central core of the ship that you had to go through to get to the back half of the ship,
I'll tell you what this reminds me of. Do you remember being a kid for the older gentlemen and ladies here that were into like Star Wars toys? Do you remember opening up the Millennium Falcon? You remember how big the Millennium Falcon was? It was a giant piece of 100-pound plastic, and it had the lid that you would pop the top off, And then like the entire structure would be laid out just like this, dude. It's giving me nostalgia vibes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. And so like, this is why I'm fascinated with this. I love like interior designs of ships. I love watching this shit. And every time I see one of these schematics and these diagrams, I go right back to that. I think, man, I remember all the ships you could just open up, pop the top off and just like look at, you know, so awesome. Like this would be fun work to do. I would absolutely love to do this.
It is now in the rear section of the ship, which allowed us to move the common shared areas to the central section. We did that change.
Did you paint it as the Millennium Falcon?
Better. When you have a 600i, regardless of which module you have, you know the front half of the ship is a consistent experience, and then the gameplay alterations with that module is constrained to a very specific area at the back.
So the best way to think of the 600i layout is between 3 parts. You have the very front of the ship, which is
for
the
sure,
bridge and the
for
captain's
sure.
quarters. For the most part,
right,
they've remained mostly the same.
Thank you, Anarchy. Thank you, dude. I love you. Thank you so much, dude. Let's bring chat over here. I feel like I'm so far away from you guys. Pepe, can we pull the chat over towards me a little bit here? Somebody type something in real quick so I can see if I've pulled you close to me, where you need to be cozy with me. Ah, that's better. Oh, yeah. Just like that. Oh. Wait, that's a little too close. Back up just a little bit. Okay.
Same. There's been a few tweaks to the layout of the chairs on the bridge, but generally that hasn't changed very much. The captain's quarters is almost the same as it was before.
I scared like 4 people away.
The bathroom moved from one side to the other. The reason for that is directly behind that, the lobby area. On the top deck, we now have a small docking collar with space for a few suits, and the opposite side of that is now a lift to take you between 2 floors into the rear, the exterior of the ship. Directly behind that, which used to be the modular section, we now have on the top deck the crew habitation area. So it starts off with a large open shared communal space where there's places to eat, make food.
It's like a mini
and
890.
then to the side of that, there's 4 private crew bedrooms.
Right.
The floor beneath
Looks
that
very
now
similar
is
to the
where
890
engineering and all
layout.
the components that allow the ship to function have been moved to. Think very similar to what we've done on the 400i, where you have the separate engineering section beneath. Directly behind that, we then have the ship modular section. We'll start with the expedition version. So on the top deck, at the very, very top, we have the armory. There's a huge armory with plenty of extra suit lockers for you and your friends to take
I like
extra
that.
equipment, depending on what you might encounter.
All right, I dig the
We then
armory.
have the hologate that allow you to do the exploration.
I dig that.
On the middle deck, we then have the medical bay, which will have a medical suite similar to that as the Carrack. It'll have a tier 2 med bed. Beside that, we then have the secondary cargo hold. So this cargo hold, it's more readily accessible for the crew. So it's more for your day-to-day supply. So if you want to have a box full of your food or your snacks, that's where you put it instead of down in your main cargo hold, because you don't want to go rooting through your garage just to find that random pen that you've left. On the bottom deck of the expedition version, we then have the main cargo hold and garage. So obviously, as you've seen from the pictures from the recent Inside Star Citizen, it is much, much larger than it was before, with a much, much larger lift to fit much larger vehicles in it. In there, there's also 2 small lifts, one to allow you to bring cargo up to the main cargo area, and then there's the smaller one that goes through the 3 decks.
Okay, can I just say they've sold me with the interior, which is very unusual, you know, because I do still hold true to most Origins look like bananas, but the interior, they did a spectacular job with. They made it very utilitarian. And I happen to like that approach with it, because Origin generally I don't feel like is a utilitarian kind of layout on most of the ships. So it is quite interesting here what they're doing with the interior.
Moving on to the touring variant, we get a completely different experience. The touring's primarily split between 2 main decks, though one of the decks is across 2 floors. So the upper deck brings you out into the large lobby area. From the lobby area, you can choose to go up the side staircases to the main meeting area.
They will be making luxury talks.
As well as a bar. And if you go left and right from there, you can get to the private guest suites.
Oh.
Private guest suites are very large and luxurious. They also come with their own skate pods. The lower deck is a spa. So the spa has a pool, a sauna, bar, as well as a...
That's where the magic happens. hello there. I'm on a mission, a diplomatic mission. Why don't we start here at the spa? I'll be right there, ladies. Does it come with custom lighting? Do we have, and perhaps like an 8-track, old school, warm audio from Barry White? Can't get enough of your love, baby.
Kitchen for the crew to actually be able to make food for the guests.
So whilst we're kind of doing a complete, or almost a complete rework of the interior, on the exterior of the ship, we're trying to keep it as true to how it is now as we possibly can. There will be some slight changes. We'll need to move the hangar bay doors a little bit. There'll be some additional kind of cutouts for escape pods.
I love it.
And
I love what they did with the
fit
interior.
the airlock in properly. So there will be some minor changes, but overall we're trying to keep it as close to what you see now as a 600 as we can.
So next step is essentially just finding a slot in the production schedule for it.
It's about finding the space where we can start doing the production art.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Walker, but you know, I can always find a use out of a spa, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, I got a game loop for you. Would you like to see my game loop in the spa? Yeah. Hi. Are those your bubbles or my bubbles? Oh, wait, that's not magic. Oh, wait. Are those your bubbles or my bubbles? Oh, God, I'm sorry. Diplomatic negotiations are ruined. What happened to my game loop? My game loop totally took a dive. It just took a dive.
And designers can get on board with actually making it come alive again. We're all super excited with the work that we've actually done on it. It's just trying to actually get the schedule to align so that we can begin the work on it. It's not going to start today or tomorrow, but it is something we're looking to try and include.
Highbrow humor here on DG360.
I think people should be excited for this rework just because of the significant improvements that the ship gets from this. Not only is a much better interior layout for it, even without the modules, the rest of the ship has just got a good improvement. Components are also updated, and it has extra features such as the med bay, which will just improve the gameplay role of the ship.
So yeah, that's an update on the 600i. It's been a bit of a curvy road to get.
I like what they're doing, but it's funny because as I talk like I talk, which is DG talk or DG speak, if you will, which is somewhat adult, I notice that the viewers tend to drop when I express my adult kind of opinions and feelings. And I would just like to say, if you're watching this channel, we're a little bit more adult. Hi. Welcome to DG360. I sometimes I question, I'm like, why did I lose 4 viewers there after I talked about my game loop being inside this spa, or play a fart noise, or say something perhaps a little over the top? And I say, well, why would I lose viewers from that? And I think to myself, well, I'm not cookie cut. I'm not store bought. I'm not generic. I'm not worried. I have no filter. And then I start to realize, like, there are people who like me that watch me, and perhaps their child is in the room. Now, let's just say this. I try to be as safe as possible, you know, but I really can't restrain myself. So let's be real here. If you're going to watch DG360, please be in the right environment. Please probably have a pair of headphones on. Please be away from your wife or your husband. Please be away from your children, perhaps even your pets. Get yourself in the DG360 zone. So don't even bother coming here and watch this channel or any of my highlights on YouTube unless you are in a safe DG360 zone, okay? You have to be there. Women, men, please find a nice, safe DG360 zone before you start viewing this. Thank you. This has been a DG360 announcement.
Where we are now, and there's still some work ahead of us before we can really deliver it to the players in the format that we want. But I hope everyone's as excited as we are about kind of
what's up, Shaq?
finally
Good to see you, bud.
Delivering the original vision of what we want the 600 to be. And I hope everyone has a great IAE.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that Drake is making their way into the starter ship game with the addition of a cutter. That it's available to everyone starting tomorrow at this year's IAE event. That Drake itself knows what some folks think about them, but is going to keep on keeping on because they're actually sort of the best. And that it will take a while yet before the 600i rework comes to fruition, but the path forward will be one that's well worth the wait and finally allows this fan favorite to realize its fullest potential in the persistent universe. Now, don't forget that in addition to the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, there's the annual free fly that goes along with it, and your chance to try out nearly every ship and vehicle that Star Citizen has to offer.
I'm going to hit the end of
Be sure
IAE
to check
probably
out the
Monday, Tuesday.
RobertSpaceIndustries.com website for the full details, and then come back tomorrow for a fun twist on our annual IAE Ship Roundtable for Star Citizen Live. We actually have a roundtable now, or at least a 6-sided triangle, or a triangle-shaped hexagon. You can be the judge. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all here next week.
All right. I like that. That was diggable. Usually when they talk about ships, they are longer. So I should have known that would have been a slightly longer episode. I like it. I'm glad they spent this amount of time explaining it in detail like that. You can see that the level of production is much higher since Manchester. Totally dig that as well. These are things that I've been talking about. We want to see the bar elevated. We want to see that subscription money being used. It's obviously being used. All the gripes I had in the past are starting to go by the wayside because I'm seeing that they're starting to apply money towards the show. It is important. Game developers generally need to develop a connection with their gamer base, with the people who are backing it, especially with this type of model. And what you need to do is you need to elevate the level of the show. You need to make it very professional. And that's what they've been doing. They're going the right direction. I'm happy to see that, especially in very rough times. You're seeing like one of the worst economic times since the Great Depression. It'll get there, but we're sliding towards it. And one thing that I think remains a pillar in game development is to see that the game is still being developed in difficult times. So I will give them some applause for that. That is very cool. Now, we are getting ready for the after party. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget, you might want to become a member. You might want to support the show, get cool highlights where you get to see like crazy little outtakes of the morning stream, of the after party, just for your viewing pleasure. You might want to push the join button to become a member to see full, complete morning podcasts, which are awesome. You might want to push subscribe. You definitely want to push the like button. And thank you for watching on YouTube. Now, for everybody here on Twitch, we are going to go over into after party mode. Are you guys ready for some serious after party mode? I hope you are. I hope you are.